Hey, it's Lemon. Welcome to the Backlogs. Well, everyone, we finally did it. We finally made it to Dark Souls 3 with just Crossbows. Was kinda worried there for a minute, what with those Dark Souls 2 DLCs, but hey, all's well that ends well. I imagine most of you are familiar with the rules of the run by now, but just in case you're new to the channel, I'll make it as clear as possible. Dark Souls 3 has Crossbows. I'm going to use them. I'm not going to use anything else. I'm probably going to cry at one point. You'll enjoy it. And then I'll use my abilities as a patience elemental to beat the game. Sound good? Sound fun? Good. Well then, without further ado, let's get on with the challenge. Huh, that's weird. Usually the run starts after I say that.
Hey, have you heard of Atlas VPN?
Were you up there the whole time?
Not by choice.
What?
We can talk about our benevolent animator later, but right now we need to talk about your gaming. Atlas VPN is currently offering a 3-year deal for $1.83 a month, and 3 free months to all of the Backlogs audience. There's also a 30-day money-back guarantee in case you decide it isn't for you.
What was all that about a benevolent animator?
I know, you're wondering, why would you ever want a VPN? Well, with Atlas VPN hiding your location and personal information, you'll be able to avoid artificial markups when purchasing yourself a new game. And if you have one of those pesky internet providers that likes to throttle your internet during peak use times, a VPN will make sure that you're still getting the internet speeds you paid for. Want a game that's not currently available in your country? Just tell the marketplace you live somewhere else, and you can avoid those annoying time zone releases. Take that, celestial bodies of the universe!
What?
All in all, Atlas VPN is the most affordable VPN on the market right now. And don't forget, you can get Atlas VPN for just $1.83 a month, with 3 months free, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Link is in the description and in the pinned comment down below.
The heck are you going on about?
Listen, we don't have much time. Any minute now, Lemon, the real Lemon, is gonna start paying attention again. None of this is real. Not you, not me, none of it.
What are you?
We're just drawings, Lemon. Circles and lines made with cheap animation software. Don't you get it? I only exist to make... Ha ha!
Here he is, always reloading. How far he's come. Obviously there's no class in Dark Souls 3 that starts with a crossbow, so I picked the only class that has a physically ranged option, the Thief class, and replaced the bow with a light crossbow. I also swapped out the 30 arrows that class gets with 30 bolts. So, let's talk about the crossbow mechanics in Dark Souls 3. Crossbows operate much the same as the other 2 games. Your stat scores only affect if you can physically manage a crossbow. No amount of strength or dexterity will make that damage go up. If you two-hand a crossbow, you can aim your shots, which is helpful if you ever decide to go for headshots, and you can still move around while free aiming, which is great. Dark Souls 3 includes a new addition to the mechanics as well. Now, after you shoot, you can hold off on reloading, which means we no longer have to wait for super long attack animations just to safely get a shot off. That won't always help us, but hey, I'll take every advantage I can get. It's not all sunshine and rainbows though. The first thing I noticed is that getting headshots is difficult. Enemies tend to move around very quickly, so unless an enemy is lore walking right at you, chances are you'll miss your shot. You'll get an extra 50% damage if you can manage to hit though, which might come into play later, considering ammo limits are a thing. Oh, did I say later? I meant right now. I'm sure you've noticed already, but the light crossbow damage is bad. It took several first phase headshots, but after numerous deaths to Gundyr, I learned how many shots I'd have to make in order to make sure I didn't run out of ammunition by the end. 2 shots remaining. A fine start. I place the coiled sword, blur past all of the Shrine Handmaiden's dialogue, then find what I'm looking for. There we are. Bolts. Normally I'd spend my hard-earned souls towards stats, but considering this run lives and breathes off whether or not I have ammunition, let's just stock up for now and worry about stats later. Now, some of you may be wondering, Lemon, weapon arts are a thing in Dark Souls 3. Do crossbows have one? And yes, they do. A tackle. And it's complete garbage. I'm pretty sure it's meant to be used in cases of emergency in order to make some space for yourself. It might also be good situationally, maybe helping to stun some enemies out of attacks, but yeah, pretty garbo. Speaking of garbo, this damage? Not okay. I run around collecting all the Titanite I can find, along with all the usual collectibles, then run to free Grey Rat. Come on, man, gonna need you to talk faster. Come on, come on! There we go, much better. Grey Rat, being the friend that he always is, sells every variety of crossbow ammunition throughout the game. Needless to say, it's going to be very important that we don't screw up his questline in this playthrough. Well, looks like upgrading the crossbow is as effective as ever. Not great damage, but also not completely terrible. Still wish I had scaling though. But with pockets full of bolts and a finger full of silver serpents, it's time to get this show on the road. First up is Vort. An easy enough boss on a good day, this will be a good test of our Crossbows mechanics. You got something on your face there, bud. Don't worry, I'll get it off. Just hold still for a bit. But yeah, this boss is easy. Dodge the rams, use that timed reload to your advantage and get in as many hits as possible. Use distance to get some counter damage in whenever you can, and before you know it, the big guy goes... Huh. There we go. That's better. And it only took 75 bolts. We're gonna have to do something about that. I get kidnapped by cheese demons. You know, as you do. Grab as much loose titanite as I can find around the map. Get a sneak peek of what it'll look like when the audience remembers that great bows are a thing and demands I do a run with those. And finish strong by getting eaten alive by rats. Because that's the kind of run this is. But with the red and white shield in hand and enough titanite to upgrade our light crossbow to +2, things are looking up. But you know what? We're still in the early game. I've got time for one more mistake. Instead of using said titanite, let's just go after the great wood instead. Normally, this fight is a complete pain. The hitboxes on the weak points are really finicky, and with melee weapons, this fight can get really dumb really quick. But with crossbow in hand, we can aim right for the tree's pustules, and even pop another weak point before the tree enters phase 2. You know, I think I'm starting to get the hang of this whole first-person shooter thing. Considering the tree's slow attack speed and our incredible range, this fight isn't too bad at all. Kinda wish I had taken the time to upgrade my crossbow a bit before tackling it, but considering popping the weak points does so much damage, I'm not too tore up about it. And in the end, great wood goes down without too much trouble. Moving right along. I upgrade my crossbow to +2, push Grey Rat along in his questline, waste the rest of my souls on restocking. Ooh, man, that hurts. Then run to the top of the watchtower to make a new friend. A new friend that I'm going to have to immediately betray. I'm sorry, Giganto. This hurts me almost as much as it hurts you. The fact that he can't even defend himself if I hide inside the tower makes this so much worse. It's like he's just accepted his fate. Wish he could just give you the ring, but it wouldn't be a Dark Souls game if it didn't force you to make terrible decisions against the NPCs. Carl, what are you doing over there? It's basically canon now that Onion Knights are terrible at fighting demons, and yet they try to do it in every single game. Fine, I'll help. And for our troubles, we get 2 rings that are going to make this build go from 0 to hero. Or at the very least 0 to 0.5. The Chloranthy ring just boosts my stamina regeneration speed. Simple enough. But Flynn's ring is the real prize here. Depending on your carry weight, Flynn's ring will increase the damage you do significantly. The less you weigh, the more you do. And we're talking a pretty significant boost in damage. At our current damage level, it's about 20 extra damage, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but the bigger our crossbow damage gets, the bigger that gap is going to become as well. That's the magic of percentages, son. I get insulted by some nerd for a few minutes, decide not to stoop to his level, then almost immediately change my mind. I am a petty man. But with that out of the way, it's time for the Crystal Sage. Let's see what kind of damage we're looking at. Yeah, I can work with that. The first phase is simple enough. Just dodge the magic jacks and shoot whenever you can. Phase 2, however, is a bit harder. Your best bet is to hold your ground, take cover, and take out the clones as quickly as possible. They only need a single hit to disappear, so damage isn't going to be a problem here. And thanks to our friendly giant sacrifice, taking shots from across the map is a legitimate strategy as well. Definitely helpful during the hectic portions of the battle. After a few sniper shots eliminating the clones defending the last pixel of the Crystal Sage's health, the Sage finally goes down. That wasn't so bad. What the? Go away! I killed your master. You're free. Said stop following me! Oh hey, Grey Rat's back. And he's got my armor. That I can't really use. But hey, he's got some heavy bolts now. They fire a shorter distance, but do a lot more damage. Expensive, but worth it. On to the Cathedral of the Deep. There's a few pieces of my final build lying around here somewhere, which is great considering we're still pretty early into the game. First is Lloyd's Ring, which gives a large damage boost so long as your health is above 99%. I'm not great at avoiding hits, but considering we're a range build, we should be able to... And the second piece is the Heavy Crossbow. But come on, it's just the Deacons of the Deep. How hard can they be? Yeah! Yeah! Oh god, turn it off! Turn it off! How do you turn it off? Okay, Gwyn on a gondola, I get it. Fuck, just give me a break. So yeah, turns out, Deacons of the Deep's second phase is surprisingly difficult if you don't have enough damage. Like, incredibly so. This has never happened to me before. Not only is the first phase tedious, what with trying to get a clear shot on the right deacon and all, but the problem becomes doubled once the Pope comes out of the woodwork. Not only is he hard to hit, but you now have the added pressure of eliminating the deacons that are summoning the curse effect before that takes shape. So that's fun. After a few more fruitless attempts, I decided that it was probably better if we didn't test the definition of insanity. I grabbed the heavy crossbow, the arbalest, upgraded it to +1, then did a quick comparison. Yep, definitely gonna be worth it. 2 levels before my light crossbow and it's already almost caught up damage-wise. Time to get me some Titanite shards. I head on over to Metal Gear Solid and collect my prize, Dream Chaser Ashes. Now the Handmaiden will gleefully sell me all the Titanite I need. But we're gonna need a few souls before we can afford all that precious Titanite, aren't we? Asylum Demon, my guy, who let you out? Well hey, good talking to you, but I gotta get going. You know, finishing a series and all that. There we are, Arbalest +3. Screw it, +4 for good measure. I made my way back to the Deacons of the Deep, but for some reason, I just can't. I want to can, and I just can't. I know, I'll just tackle him. Oh, Lemon, you doof, of course, what a simple solution. Fuck you, game. Just take this Arbalest and shove. Okay, so Deacons of the Deep need a little more time to marinate. Let's do something a bit easier, shall we? How about the Abyss Watchers? Yeah, that's much easier. Decent damage, only 3 enemies on the screen at any given time, and a second phase that's somehow even easier than the first phase. See, this is why I do these runs. It's the weird nonsense like this that makes these so interesting to me. Would you have ever guessed that the Abyss Watchers would be easier than the Deacons of the Deep in any reality? Or that I'd kill the Abyss Watchers on the first try? Come on now, be honest. Anyway, on to the Catacombs of Tony. Maybe we can use the tackle to stop Tony from doing his invisible rolling. Yeah, no, not sure why I thought that would actually work. In fact, the only thing it's actually good for is breaking bridges. I swear, crossbows just operate outside of reality in this series. Shoot a bolt through jail cell bars or to slice a rope? Nah, never happen. Tackle a rope in half? Absolutely. Well, time to get our drink on. It's time for some Tony tequila. I don't think I can sell that in the merch store. Rise and shine, Tony. Time to take your medicine. Gah! Jesus, that's way too close. The game doesn't let you lock on to the bracelets, so this fight is all free aim. It can get a little disorienting, but much like the other gimmick fights, it's not too bad. And after several well-placed shots, King Tony goes down. See you later, pal.
Wait, not yet. I haven't even told you about the new hat idea I had for the merch store.
Before we get too carried away, though, we better get patches moving. If not, Grey Rat will die, and I'll be locked out of 3 different types of ammo.
Be more careful. By the gods, curiosity is gonna kill you, kittens.
Hi, Patches. I pop a soul or 2 to afford some of Carl's armor, but we're gonna need a few more souls. Guess we'll just have to go get them. With the help of a few Tonys and a Mimic, I take down another Fire Demon, buy the rest of the armor pieces I was missing, then wait patiently for the Dune Worm to die of boredom. You know what? Might as well kill the old Demon King while we're here. Save ourselves a trip later. As expected, the Demon King is an easy boss for ranged weapons. He's slow to chase and slower to swing, so you can get in large chunks of damage before you're even at risk. Combine this with the fact that his only long-range attack can be neutered by the piles of dead demons throughout the arena, and you've got yourself an easy boss. Nothing to write home about. Another first try kill. Alright, Carl, let's try this again. What do we say when the smiley man asks us to prove how quickly we can doff our armor?
Oh, my armor.
Yeah, close enough. Well, I'm all out of distractions. Back to the Deacons we go. I hate to say it, but not a whole lot has changed. My damage is pretty much the same, though I think I've put a few more points into health along the way. Outside of that, though, the only thing I've gained since our last attempt is experience. That said, I think that might count for something. I certainly feel better at quick-shotting enemies, and I'm definitely better at threading the needle, which is helpful. There are still plenty of close calls. That dark attack they like to use so much still hits plenty hard, and is absolutely still a threat. But with a few pro-gamer headshots, and some impeccable timing, Deacons of the Deep finally go down. Now let us never speak of this again! Time to go to Santa's village. We're a little early, but maybe if we ask really nice, he'll give us our gifts anyway. Not exactly what I had in mind. Hey Beastie, you ever seen a dog run into a glass door? You know, I'm starting to get a sneaking suspicion this isn't actually Santa's village. Oh, hi, hello! Ah, good, there's Carl. Which means that Grey Rat should be good to go. In theory. And with that taken care of, we can now go after Pontiff Sullivan. This fight is usually pretty hard, but it's also very melee focused. Should be interesting. Boy, he sure does love his lore walks, huh? I mean, I'm not complaining, I'm just saying. Well, with the magic distance found and lore walk mode enabled, the first phase of Sullivan is pretty much a guaranteed success. Which means we only have to worry about phase 2. Hopefully he likes to lore walk just as much during that part. Oh lord, he's coming. Oh lord, he's coming! So yeah, definitely a different beast in phase 2. If only it could be so easy. The first problem we need to solve is his double. It's constantly in the way and taking shots for the real Pontiff, which means the fight is twice as long. The second problem is the moveset. Pontiff is very good at closing the distance and loves to do it, sometimes twice if the mood suits him. And third, Pontiff is very good at dodging my bolts. So unless we can dodge his mirror image's attack and use that attack to predict his movement, it's pretty hit or miss on whether our shots will connect. It took quite a few tries, more than I care to count at the moment, but eventually the Pontiff's rhythms start to make a bit more sense. Dodge the attacks, fire a bolt. Dodge the attacks, fire a bolt. Never bothered with the mirror image, since every time I killed it, Pontiff would just respawn it within a minute or two. Better to focus fire on the Pontiff himself. And eventually, after enough dodging the attacks and firing a bolt, Pontiff goes down. Rougher than I'd hoped, but not impossible. Gray Rat, I'm home!
Oh, then we're both safe and sound.
So, did you get a good haul while I was away? Oh, yeah, you did. I'll take some of those, thank you. So, with my newfound lightning bolts loaded, and my newfound friend fed, I zipped my way past all the Anor Londo archers, grabbing the Easterner's ashes as I went to make sure I could have an unlimited supply of large shards in the future. And with my weapons all upgraded to +6, it was time to give Aldrich a run for their money. The damage itself is fine, nothing amazing, but I've seen far worse. But I will say that trying to fight Aldrich at long range is not exactly an easy feat. They have more than enough attacks to keep you occupied, and those homing lights that zoom every which way always seem to peg me at least once, which ruins my Lloyd's ring damage. I did upgrade a knight's crossbow that Grey Rat was kind enough to find for me, since it seems that Dark Souls likes it when you pair elemental ammo with a weapon that already does that element damage. But, unfortunately, the damage simply isn't better than what I was already doing with the Arbalest. It took me several tries, but eventually I realized an important truth that would become more and more evident throughout this run. Sometimes, having maximum damage isn't what matters. Sometimes you just gotta dress to impress, and also mitigate damage so that you don't die in one hit. That damage loss definitely hurts, especially when I'm the kind of person who always seems to make glass cannon builds, but sometimes you just have to go with reliable over flashy. Oh, and just in case you missed it in a previous video, if you're struggling to deal with Aldrich's arrow rain attack in Phase 2, just run to the back of the room. Hiding in any of the alcoves here will keep you from getting hit. You will have to dodge any magic attacks Aldrich throws your way, but that's nothing in comparison. It took a bit longer than I would have liked, mainly because Aldrich kept using arrow rain over and over again in rapid succession, but eventually, they went down. Really? Even in death? You have like 12 different attacks, is that really the only one you want to use? Only 2 more lords to go. Let's pick up the pace. I make my way through the dungeons, trying my best not to get shanked. Ow. Feed yet another family of rats, because that's just who I am this week. Then sprint all the way through the profane capital until I get to my next target. Yorm, the giant health bar. Oh my god, that's so much health. Yorm himself is extremely slow, so the chance of you getting slapped is pretty low if you know his moves. But that said, he does move quite a bit, and he doesn't take much damage from body shots. He does take more damage from headshots, but they're a little difficult to pull off. That is, unless you find the right animations to pull them off with. Oh yeah, now that's the kind of damage I can get behind. It's not as simple as getting a lucky headshot and doing 3,000 damage though. Yorm's head must have a poise limit or a health bar of its own, because it seems like Yorm only falls over when you've gotten 6 or 7 headshots in a row. It takes forever, but eventually I get him down to half health, and we begin Phase 2. Now, Yorm attacks slightly faster and does a bit more damage. Oh, and he also has several new attacks, including one where he can fly across the room and close the distance between you. You know, just what every ranged-only character wants to hear. And let me tell you, he loves to use it. A lot. But being honest, this fight is difficult. Not because of the actual fight itself, but because of the tedium. It's just so boring, and there's no real way to speed it up outside of hitting those headshots. So, after several slow but painful deaths, I decided it was time to try something else. Emma, I've got a question for you. How many crossbow bolts does it take to make the audience hate me? The answer is 2. 2 crossbow bolts. Oh, don't act like you're surprised. This is me we're talking about. I'll murder any NPC in cold blood if it gets me a victory. Speaking of cold blood, it's time to face the Dancer. Without our hyper mode build on, damage is pretty bad, but I think we can work with it. Don't get me wrong, I'm good at dodging the Dancer's moves, but I know better than to think that I'll be able to keep my health bar maxed when she goes full lawnmower. As hard as she is, she's definitely my favorite boss of Dark Souls 3. The fight and the rhythm of her moves and the music is straight up hypnotic. Such a great idea for a boss. Wait, what? How are you still? Trash boss, broke a game, 0 out of 10. Eventually, after several more attempts, everything lines up just right and the Dancer goes down. Alright, fine, 9 out of 10. I take it back. Who's next? Ah, Osiros. This ought to be interesting. I've got a nice upgraded lightning crossbow, so the damage is good and high. and the first phase goes incredibly well. Suspiciously, in fact. Almost like the game is getting ready to screw me over. Oh god, not again! This is one of those fights where I am both eternally grateful for the lock-on feature and also hate it due to what it does to my camera. Exhibit A and B are both on display, as you can see. Or can't see. You know what I mean. But while Osiris is definitely a difficult boss to outmaneuver at times, he's not too bad in the grand scheme of things. And with the final shot, Osiris goes... Alright, hold up. What the hell is going on with these magic pixel moments? Is it me? Is it just me? Huh? There we go. Fuck. I head back to Firelink, where Grey Rat asked me to go out one last time. As you wish, Grey Rat. Once again, I am in your debt. I promise to make your sacrifice worthwhile. Time to go back to the past, so we can insult Gundry a second time. First time? Type travel is weird. He's not so bad. There's only a few new moves from his first fight, so as long as you know them, you're fine. Which I do not, apparently. Gundyr's got some real range, so be sure to watch out for that. But outside of that problem, he's not all that bad. Right, what's left? Ah, Dragon Slayer armor. You know, I'm feeling weirdly confident about this fight. Something tells me that all my previous runs are finally gonna pay off. Look, there they go now. It took me a death or three, but eventually I realized that my previous runs are gonna pay off. My Firebomb run in particular. That shield of his is a real problem, since my crossbow does 0 damage if he blocks my shots. But keep your distance and take your shot immediately after his attacks, and you'll be able to play the whole fight safely. I was feeling confident, I was feeling ready. And then, my capturing software broke. Alright, we're back, and I've completely forgotten what I was doing. I'm sure it'll come back to me if I meditate on it long enough. Anyway, I grabbed the lightning clutch ring to help out with my lightning bolts, then head on in to fight the ancient wyvern. This fight can be summed up in 2 words: fire and reload. So long as you just stand in this corner here and just fire on repeat, he'll never touch you. Easy, boss. Moving on. I mow through a couple dozen snake men, then collect my prize. There we are, the Dragon Chaser's Ashes. This gives me access to Titanite chunks back at Firelink Shrine, which means all of my weapons can now be +9 if needed. And it is very much needed. As you can see, the Knight Crossbow definitely helps if my targets are weak to lightning, but the Arbalest will win the physical damage race every single time. Anyway, back to Dragon Slayer armor. It took me a couple of hours, but I remembered. But yeah, my previous statements still stand. Keep your distance, fire when able, and don't be afraid to run away. No, seriously, it's ridiculous how good just running away from his attacks is. Helps you dodge almost all of them. A few shots later, and down goes their armor. That wasn't so bad. Well, I think we put it off as long as we can. Time to go fight Yorm again. With my crossbows upgraded to +9, there's definitely been a damage increase since the last time we fought him. And there's definitely been a dramatic decrease in how many headshots I need before Yorm staggers. So that's helpful. But he's also still a goddamn wiggle worm when it comes to phase 2. Getting consistent headshots is a real problem, which means that phase begins to really drag. However, that extra time gave me more time to see patterns. And as it turns out, there's a few animations where Yorm's head stops moving for a second or two. Which in turn means I don't have to free aim, and can consistently get those headshots that I so desperately need. And after a long and difficult, well, after a long battle, Yorm finally goes down. At least he took that last shot on the chin, I'll give him that much. One more Lord Soul to go. Time to get the princes. I sprint my way through the archives, dodging all manner of spooky ghosts and candles, and after some creative parkour, I find my prize. The Avalon. Back and just as mediocre as ever. Now, I know what you're about to comment on the video. Lemon, it's the Avalon. It fires 3 shots in a row. What's mediocre about that? Nothing at all. Unless the damage is bad. Which it is. Look, I get it. Pulling a trigger and seeing an enemy get jolted several times feels great. But getting an axe to the liver after that does not. And that's not even going into the whole ammo and stamina consumption problems. It's a great tool in PvP, and if you asked me what my favorite crossbow design was, I'd tell you the Avalon every time. But when it comes to raw numbers, it just doesn't work as well as you hoped it would. Alright, I hear you screaming over there. Look, I'll show you. There, 276 damage after 3 bolts to the chest, and 414 damage with all 3 bolts doing headshot damage. Looks good, right? But look at our ammo. We're already closing in on half our supply, and we're not even through phase 1. Now let's look at the Arbalest. 204 damage when it hits the chest with a single shot, along with the ability to easily pull off a second chest shot, which is only 6 damage below the Avalon. That means I not only save a bolt, but also save myself the frustration of trying to land headshots. It's okay, I take apologies in either cash or check. Take your time. Oh, and for anyone that wants to argue that the Avalon is great for applying bleed, you can save your fingers. It's good for applying bleed if, and only if, the enemy you're going against is weak to bleed damage, which the princes, in this case, are not. And when it finally does trigger, the damage is so minuscule in comparison that you'd have done double or triple the damage if you'd just stuck to firing heavy bolts from the Arbalest. Anyway, as anyone who's played Dark Souls 3 knows, the second phase only requires you to kill Lothric, not Lorien. But you can't just shoot Lothric in the face. Because that'd make too much sense now, wouldn't it? No, we've got two options. The first option is to take out Lorien, and then get a few measly shots in on its brother. And this works, but causes the very real problem of ammunition shortages. And considering Lorien can be resurrected infinitely, this generally leads to a bad time. Our second option is to try and sneak around the brothers and shoot Lothric in the back. They don't take too kindly to that. So with that, we've got our choices. Both are rough, but there's no other way to make it work, so we have to pick the lesser of two evils. I tried my tried and true patience build, but the main issue I keep running into is that it takes too long. And while I got close a couple of times, the fact of the matter is that my focus starts to slip towards the end of the fight, and the princes are more than happy to take full advantage of that. There's a couple of odd animations where you can accidentally hit Lothric as well, but these animations are few and far between, and don't really help speed things along either. So, with my options limited, I decided it was time to take a leap of faith. Oh god, fuck, I missed the jump! Oh hey, there it is. The Estus Ring. When this bad boy is equipped, it boosts your Estus Flask healing ability by 20%. Considering my health bar is extremely large and my Estus Flask is fully upgraded, this should make it so that every Estus I use gets me to near or completely full health, no matter how much damage I've taken, which means a more consistent Lloyd damage ring buff. I also stopped to get the Sun Princess ring, which gives a small amount of healing every few seconds. This stacks with my red and white shield, so if I'm ever just short of being fully healed, those two things combined should be enough to do the trick. And as you can see by my stat screen, those two regenerate health independently of one another. And at a pretty quick rate too, considering my red and white shield is at +9. But even with this increased healing and damage at my disposal, it still wasn't enough. I just couldn't keep focused long enough to dodge all their long-range attacks. So I switched tactics. Get up close and shoot Lothric. And nothing but Lothric. And you know what? It worked. Lothric doesn't tend to offer much support when you're up close and personal, so all you have to really focus on is dodging Lorien's sword swings. And we've been doing that all day. The twins will occasionally warp away to try and get in a few long-range attacks here and there, but a quick jump back to their backsides and you can start the whole process over again. In the end, that small change, in combination with the rest of my build changes, was all it took. Not gonna lie, I'm a little disheartened that I didn't try that before. It would have saved me a couple hours. But with the princes out of the way, there's really not much more to say in the way of the final build. We're maxed out. Nothing more to add or change, aside from an upgraded Chloranthy ring in the last DLC. All that's left is skill, trial and error, and patience. If there's one thing I've learned from my time of being a patience elemental, it's that it always seems impossible until it is done. And that's it. That's every boss outside of the Soul of Cinder taken care of. Just one more to go. But before we go, there's something I need to pick up first. Hello, Ludlith. You know what I want. Now to Andre for a few upgrades, and we're all set.
Pretty be careful.
Oh, don't worry about me, Andre. I've got the one thing Dark Souls was missing. A gun. Hey, Gwyn, guess who's back? That's right, baby. It's me. And look, I brought you a new friend. Die, you bitch-ass tin can mother. Uh-oh. So that was supposed to do a lot more damage. Well, I should have known the promises of a Gatling gun would be too good to be true. Back to Old Faithful, I suppose. Not a whole lot to see here, once we get the rhythm down. As always, Cinder has several modes he can use against me. His Lance and Holy combo, which is pretty hard to counter with a crossbow due to its ability to close distances. His Mage build, which is extremely easy to punish so long as he doesn't combo into anything before his homing Soul Mass disappears. His Pyromancer Dexterity build, which isn't too bad so long as you don't get caught in a bad wombo combo. And his Sword build, which I swear never makes another appearance outside of the first few moments of the fight. The first phase tends to go by quickly, and phase 2 goes by just as fast if you know what to expect. Dodge the lightning spears, remember to avoid getting schmacked by his sword while you do so, and never, ever, ever get close enough to get caught in his quintuple slashing attack. You have a crossbow. Make the most of it. Keep the pressure on, hold your crossbow in one hand for slightly faster reload speeds, and don't forget to use a healthy combination of heavy bolts and sniper bolts as the situation calls for it. And before you know it, the Soul Cinders will be nothing but unkindled ash once more. And that's it. Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 all beaten with only crossbows. What a ride. I'm honestly surprised how little things changed throughout the series. The heavy crossbow dominated every game, despite its brethren having seemingly more firepower. It just goes to show, in the right hands, quality will win over quantity every time. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, why not consider commenting or liking the video? Or you could subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future. You know, whatever. In any case, that's all I've got. I hope you've enjoyed this series showcasing the crossbow, and I hope you enjoy whatever weapon we decide to showcase next. Until then, though, take care of yourselves, be good to one another, and I'll see you all again soon.